Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Ripple lawyers' advice on digital tokens set for unsealing in key SEC case. And so it is the case that Ripple's internal secret memos will be released to the public in just 9 days. Now, these are documents that Ripple does not want the public to have. To be clear, though, these particular memos, these documents, they were already a factor in the case. The judge has already seen these. You know, they're going to be used as evidence in the case. It's just part of the discovery process, and so that was never in question. You know, I mean, once the discovery process was finished, of course. What was the question was whether or not the public would ever be able to see these particular documents. Ripple doesn't want them to when they cite, I'll get into the specifics, but they were concerned that it would reveal too many specifics about their business model, this or that. And so I can respect where they're coming from, but on the flip side, I do appreciate transparency, and I gotta admit, I'm really very curious as to what's within these documents. And they have to do with the topic of what Ripple did or did not know about what the likelihood was of XRP being found to be a security by the SEC. And I've also got some comments from attorney John Deaton about, in his words, basically the SEC's best argument against Ripple in claiming that XRP is indeed a security. So I'll save that for the last part of the video. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just a simple little moon Lambo doing moon Lambo stuff all up in this bitch, making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, into this Reuters piece we go. Was the blockchain company Ripple Labs Inc. forewarned by its own lawyers that its contemplated sale of XRP digital tokens would trigger regulation under federal securities laws? That question is at the heart of the closely watched U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit accusing Ripple and two top executives of conducting an unregistered offering of $1.3 billion in XRP between 2013 and 2020. There is no dispute that Ripple sought advice in 2012 from an as-yet unidentified global law firm in 2012, as the company contemplated the launch of a new digital token, nor that the law firm submitted two memos to Ripple analyzing the legal issues that could arise from the launch. But Ripple and the government have offered widely divergent accounts of exactly what Ripple's outside counsel said in the two memos, which have been docketed only under seal. The SEC contends that the documents show that Ripple and its then CEO, Christian Larson, were well aware of the risk that XRP would be deemed a security under federal law. But Ripple and Larson, who is now Ripple's chairman, say regulators are mischaracterizing the memos. They said the documents show that Ripple's lawyers ultimately concluded its tokens were not securities. So folks, let me just pause here, because look, I've talked about this topic many times over the last year or so because we knew that these memos existed. We knew what the topic was about within these memos. We just don't know the specifics. So once they're actually released, which is going to happen in 9 days, we'll be able to see, since we've got more than half a brain, we'll be able to figure out who is characterizing the contents of these memos appropriately. Is it Ripple or is it the SEC? Well, I'd be willing to bet that, just an educated guess, that the SEC is mischaracterizing because there are a bunch of asshats at the SEC, and that Ripple is characterizing appropriately. But here's the thing. Like, even if Ripple's attorneys stated, and this actually might be the case, even if Ripple's attorneys stated that there was a chance that the SEC could come after them, that doesn't mean that there's legitimacy to the claim that XRP would be a security. It's just recognizing a risk. There's a risk that anybody could claim anything about anybody. Sure, fine. But does it mean that the claim that the SEC would make here would ultimately be legitimate? Because that's a different topic. Just understanding that there is a risk is completely different than accepting the argument that's being made. Very different. And the SEC seems to like to conflate these two concepts because they think that it just benefits their position. But who's falling for that? Like, you'd have to be an idiot to not understand the difference between those two things, right? Anyway, piece continues. The memos, in other words, are sure to be key evidence in a case that is widely considered to be a critical test of the SEC's ability to regulate cryptocurrency offerings through enforcement actions. And now, thanks to a ruling last week from U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres of Manhattan, we don't have to rely on either side's description of the advice Ripple received from its outside counsel in those 2012 memos. Torres held that the legal advice in the two memos must be unsealed and released publicly by February 17th. So actually, technically, there's a possibility we'll see that sooner, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's, they wait until the last minute. But anyway, either way, we're going to get the information is the point. Piece continues. That is not what Ripple or Larson wanted. Both argued in letter motions to Torres that the memos should remain under seal. Larson counsel Martin Flumenbaum of Paul Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton, and Garrison, that's one hell of a lawyery name, law firm name, jeez. They told the judges that the memos, quote, reflect the proprietary internal business strategies, analysis, impressions, and concerns of a private company and its founder, end quote, and that there was no good reason for the public to see them. Ripple argued in a letter brief from Michael Kellogg of Kellogg Hansen, Todd Figel, and Frederick. That's an even more lawyery sounding law firm. That's super duper lawyery sounding. Anyway, piece continues that the documents contain, completely sensitive information and are not actually material to the case. Well, folks, we're going to figure this out. If there's all sorts of stuff having to do with their business model, well, I'd be surprised if the judge would then let it out. I would be surprised. But is this just something Ripple argued, or is it indeed the case that there's some secret proprietary stuff? Well, we're all going to find out, so we'll be talking about it. Piece continues. Torres, however, pointed out that even Ripple and Larson have made an issue of the memos in their filings. Ripple's answer to the SEC's complaint, for instance, asserted that a reasonable reader of the advice it received from its lawyers actually would have concluded that XRP were not a security. Larson, who attached the memos as sealed exhibits to its motion to dismiss the SEC case, similarly argued that the 2012 documents never said XRP were investment contracts or securities. And Larson says much, much more about the memos in his dismissal motion, but the publicly filed version redacts nearly all of it. Now, Ripple and Larson, Torres said, both urged her, as did the SEC, to review the memos in full in weighing their arguments to dispose of the case. So there's no doubt, the judge said, that the memos are judicial documents and therefore presumptively public. Now, interestingly, as the SEC noted in its brief urging the judge to unseal the 2012 memos, Ripple and Larson did not press arguments in their seal motions that the memos are privileged. As I've reported, the company claimed in an early status report in the SEC litigation that the memos were shielded by privilege even though they had been disclosed to third parties in 2013. The SEC told Torres that those disclosures were quite extensive. Larson and another Ripple executive circulated the legal advice to third parties on at least 19 occasions, so Ripple had waived any potential privilege claim. And Ripple seems to be making the best of Torres' decision to make the memos public. In an email statement, Ripple's General Counsel Stuart Alderati said that when the documents are released, they will, quote, show that in 2012, Ripple received a legal analysis that XRP was not an investment contract, end quote. So I'm looking forward to seeing just how powerfully will this be worded, just how clear will it be? Because I'm telling you, Ripple and the SEC, they might as well be referencing completely different documents because their analysis from both sides, is completely different. And again, I would not be surprised to find that SEC is making another piss-poor argument that even they don't believe in, and Ripple's actually correct. I will not be surprised if that's the case. And if it's not, I'm going to say that. I'm just going to take in the information, I'm going to report it when it's public, and we'll have a little conversation about it. But I'm just saying, based on what I've seen for over a year from the SEC, I'm not expecting truth to come from the SEC. Just saying. Piece continues. It's baffling, Alderati said, that it took the SEC 8 years while XRP traded globally to declare its contrary view. We look forward to the public having access to these documents as we continue to vigorously defend this case, Alderati said. Larson counsel Flumenbaum did not respond to my request for comment. And so that's pretty much the gist of it. Very curious to see what this looks like. But, again, look, anytime the SEC actually has a good argument, I admit it, but it's almost never. It's legitimately almost never, because the SEC, I genuinely don't believe that they believe the vast majority of the arguments that they're making against Ripple and XRP. I don't believe that they believe it because it's so illogical and so out of touch with reality. Now into this thread from attorney John Deaton. He wrote, 2 days ago I wrote, quote, "It will be near impossible to prove any real correlation between XRP's price and public announcements by Ripple, i.e. partnerships," end quote. I just realized the single best argument the SEC's expert will make related to this issue. The single best evidence of price correlation between Ripple News and XRP's price is the lawsuit itself. I bet the SEC expert will testify that when the SEC sued Ripple and XRP's price dropped 50 to 60%, proves price correlation. Let me pause here. That claim, I won't be surprised to see that claim made. I think John Deaton's correct about that, but it's still completely absurd. When the price dropped, it's not because of anything that Ripple specifically did, it's because of something that a different organization entirely, the SEC, said about Ripple and XRP. It's because of what the SEC did, not because of what Ripple did. That could not be more clear. And that's when the price dropped. It's absolutely provably the case. It's not because of Ripple. It is the SEC that caused the price drop. So yes, don't be surprised if they make that jackass claim, but it's complete and utter nonsense. And so John Deaton then writes, that's what we call evidentiary bootstrapping. In law, bootstrapping can also refer to an attempt to gain jurisdiction over a non-jurisdictional matter by its circuitous relationship to a jurisdictional matter. So, look, I've talked about this before. I think they'll make the arguments, but it doesn't pass the smell test. Like, anybody with half a brain and, like, any sort of, like, even the tiniest shred of, like, the capability of, like, processing logical thought processes, you're not going to buy that piss poor argument. Like, it's just not the case that you're going to believe that. It's not what Ripple did. And I'm telling you, if you zoom out on a chart, like, the correlation between XRP and Bitcoin, it's astonishing how closely it's correlated. It's provably the case that XRP follows a Bitcoin, except for when the SEC said that XRP is actually a security of Ripple, and then it didn't, which is a completely different topic. But people are responding to that, not to something Ripple did. So it is what it is.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.